Arkansas Police Chief says DHS failed to respond to an abandoned baby report. Chief Oakes from Crittenden County couldn't get anyone in the whole county of DHS on the phone for 2.5 hours. He had to place the baby himself with the grandmother. November 7th, child abuse investigator accused of fabricating reports. The Arkansas State Police Crimes Against Children Division investigator Whitney Adams was arrested October 27th for tampering with records. She is accused of fabricating reports in at least 43 cases over the last 18 months. That's our state police crimes against children. November 1st, Ted Sewell, former operator of a Medicaid-financed mental health services empire, was sentenced to 7 years in prison, 3 years to supervised release, and a $200,000 fine for bribing former deputy director of DHS, Stephen Jones. Jones oversaw the Medicaid reimbursements that funded Sewell's business. Also November 1st, Hutchinson administration resists accountability in child rape case, which gets us to October 25th. Story, Clarence Garrettson, a Van Buren, Arkansas long-haul trucker, foster parent, adopted parent, and serial child rapist, has had 35 children placed in his home by DCFS. This even prompted Max Brantley to call for a legislative investigation, right? Here's what Max said. Time for a legislative investigation. If the parents in an adoptive home are accused of sexual assault and the home is closed as a foster home, can it remain an adoptive home? How serious was the investigation into the allegations of abuse against Garrettson in 2004? We need to know whether people in that chain of command are in command now. It's simply wrong for a state agency to hide behind a shield of confidentiality meant to protect children when exactly the opposite result occurred. Governor Hutchinson and a question mark. That's Max Brantley. What the heck happened here? Okay, that sounds like Alan Clark. You know, Max likes to skewer Alan for his positions, but this is what Alan's been saying all along. You know, well, welcome to the party, Max. Come on in. The water's fine. You know, I wish he had known that when we were trying to subpoena Judge James that we were in the middle of a legislative investigation, investigating this very same thing. But like I said, it's okay. Better late than never. Come on, Max. November 8th, an Orange County jury. This is one that's not local, but it's one that these people need to read. Orange County, this is the West Coast, left coast California, Orange County, not New York, found that the County Department of Children and Family Services had, quote, an official custom and or practice of seizing children from their parents without a warrant, end quote, and failed, quote, to enact official policy or procedure when it should have done so, end quote. The plaintiff, Ms. Duval, was awarded $3 million in compensatory damages for DHS's warrantless seizure of her son and interference with the right to familial association. In other words, what they do here every day, okay? Just hit Orange County for another $3 million. I hope it's not a kind of a Ford Firestone rollover analysis being done by DHS going, we can pay a few of those over the next 10 years and it's worth it financially to keep taking these children. I hope it's not as dastardly as that. But the bottom line is we've got to get back to the Constitution and the laws that really matter. These laws that they're hiding behind are not constitutional. We've got to get back to basics. It's really not that difficult. At the end of the day, the question is this a government of the people? Would a government of the people violate its people's rights? And if they do, by necessity, is it not violating its own? So is that even possible? I don't know. Would a government of the people punish an elected official for acting honorably? Honorable leaders and committees like the JPR are the minority. They are now the targets. But they're the feature if we have a chance. Again, we know what the government's doing. The problem is we's got to get bigger than just the victims. The sum of the victims of the we is not enough. You've got to tell people. We've got to keep people that will tell the truth, like Alan Clark, in powers or in positions of enough power so that he continue to do what he's doing. You heard the 29 members. All of them aren't doing the type of work that Alan's doing. We'll see how the new chair of the Senate does, but I know Alan Clark and Kim Hammer and Linda Collins Smith and Mickey Gates and Dwight Tosh and Gary Stubblefield and even Stephanie Flowers who is not a member of this committee, knows the problems and is fighting and is trying to help. There were actually a lot of legislators not members of the JPR. Saw them in there a lot. 28 times they met. 14 of those times was spent on DHS, State Police, Administrative Office of the Courts. I think this committee's done more work, or it did, in the last session on DHS and exposing the truth than any other government body that I've ever seen. I know I've heard more truth from the people that are in it. The problem is, you know, when our government doesn't support an official like Alan Clark that's telling the truth, and then they take steps so that he is not in a position of power to continue the good work that he was doing, it's time that we hold those people accountable. And you're coming out here today on a Saturday. I should be hanging in a tree somewhere waiting for one of God's creatures to feed my family, you know, but I'm not. I would be here every single day as long as I was able to come if I thought it was going to help. And I do think this is going to help. I think we're going to get their attention. I know how hard it is to get 10 people together. I was in a rock band. Worked my way through college. We had 8 people in the crowd. We had a great gig, you know, even if I knew all 8 of them. This is simple. This is government abuse of its people and government abuse of people that we have elected and sent up here to do our bidding, because it's not what they want, and it's got to stop. It's res ipsa loquitur, isn't it, Doc? It speaks for itself. And thank you, and God bless you for being here. We'll see you next time. We'll do another one.